Hello, my beauties. Today I'm here to do a requested video about shaping your eyebrows. So let's talk about brows for a second. First of all, most people who look like they have flawless brows really don't. It's pretty rare to have a perfect eyebrow shape, even if you have a gifted esthetician that's doing a great waxing job for you or you're an expert with the tweezers. We still need a little bit of help to get those great dramatic brows, which I believe are a beautiful asset to having a good dramatic look on your eyes. Even if your day-to-day look, especially if your brows are a little bit light, it's a great way to bring shape and dimension around the eye. So let's talk about the basics when it comes to shaping. Obviously, you can see my brows are far from perfect, mainly because if you look in here, you see these thin spots. This is because I over-tweezed in high school. I've been trying to get that area to grow back for over a year, and I'm just coming to grips with the fact that it may always look a little bit like this, so I will be filling in my brows. And, you know, if you took this away, you'd end up with that comma brow, which really isn't a great look for anybody. So where you are going to start your brow is right here from the tip of your nose on the outside corner and straight up. So from the tip of the nose up, that is where your brow should begin. When you go to do your arch, which is the highest point of your brow, you're going to go to the outside of your iris at an angle up, and that is where you find your arch. And when you're talking about the outside corner, it should give or take be about an angle up from the outside corner of your eye. Now for me, that's a little bit short where my brows grow, so I usually add a little bit of length to my brows. You will notice that Asher is also playing his part in this video as he is in his little extra saucer in the corner playing while mommy does a little bit of fun. So I'm going to talk about two common products in how we shape our brows. The first is going to be a pencil. Now a lot of women use pencils to fill in their brows unnecessarily. Typically, I don't suggest a pencil unless you're doing major alterations to your eyebrow shape, if you're missing large sections of brow, or if you're just really needing a lot of help in getting a shape because your brows are fairly shapeless. That is when a pencil is fantastic. However, that's not usually most people. Most people do a lot better with a great angle brush, like this one, and a little bit of brow powder. Now, a brow powder does not have to be specific for the brows. You can use a loose matte pigment. You can also use a brow specific product like this. This is the, excuse me, and a little bit more there as the cat fell to my tile floor. Here is my very well used brow from Smashbox. It's the Brow Tech. This has a wax product in it to hold down those kind of straggly crazy guys. It has a, a medium light color and then a nice dark color. Usually you would want to do the lighter on the outside and then the dark in the center to give a much more natural look to the brow. However, that's not 100% necessary unless you're doing some pretty, again, extreme alterations. So I'm going to show you both ways. First, we're going to talk about how to do it with a pencil. So the first key to doing it with a pencil is you're going to want to draw from the corner of the eye straight up into the arch. And that is how you work to get a very natural shape. And even as you come in, just keep following the same line that you're creating, even as you build this section a little wider. If I drew a line just straight across, it's going to look super just fake. So whenever you're using a pencil, use an extremely light hand. You're very, very little, you're wanting to deposit very little color. And I just kind of stroke it up into my natural hair. So as you can see, kind of just flicking it really and continuing up in that shape to the top of my brow. And I kind of go along the arch. And then when I get to the end, I'm just kind of, again, flicking a little bit there toward the outside. And if you feel like it needs a little bit more, I still only use the pencil in the areas that need a lot of help. Obviously that eyebrow has a pretty significant hole. And I am going to use the Smashbox darkest color to just kind of fill in and brush behind my pencil. The reason I do that is because powder tends to sit in with the hairs in a much more natural way, and I take my angle and work it at an angle up into the hair, and that just gives a much more natural comb through look, because you really don't want to look like you have on those lovely tattooed brows. And I just follow the line that I created with my pencil and just really fill it in until I feel like it looks the way that I would like it to look. I don't usually do much around the top because my eyebrows are pretty thick naturally. So that is the brow done with pencil with a little bit of aid from a brow powder. The most magical step about doing your brows to get them to look natural is one of these brushes. You really want to comb that product through the brow hairs in an upward motion and out, and that is when you're going to get that really natural looking brow. So next, I'm going to use our unique angle brush. Before, I was using my Delium Tools angle brush, which has been my best friend as a makeup artist for a very long time. However, I just got in my unique angle brush. I really think that they're extremely comparable. I'm very picky when it comes to makeup brushes. I don't like a lot of professional lines at all. However, I really do like the unique brushes, and I'm not just saying that. I honestly wouldn't even talk about them if I didn't like them. Are you having fun? Asher's really enjoying himself over there. So, for me, I use the darkest matte pigment that we offer in a brown tone, which is Infatuated. This is great for dark brows. Now, when you're looking for a color match for brow powder, you're going to want to go with tones that have a slightly ashy look to them. If a tone is really brown or a very red brown, it typically tends to look very fake on the eyebrow, and you want to have something that definitely is following more of your natural ashy tones that are in your natural eyebrow hair. So that's a great color for dark brown brows. Another awesome color for somebody who has like a medium brown is going to be our matte Irresistible. This is a perfect medium brown for a brow powder. And if you have some lighter brows, slightly auburn to red, you are going to go with Beautiful. That's going to be that kind of sandy blonde with a little bit more of a reddish hue to it, which is going to be perfect for you know, strawberry blondes and blondes out there. So like I said, I'm dark brown, I'm Infatuated. I love our names to all of our pigments. And I like to shake mine out on this little palette. You can use a plate, you can use your hand, you can use a mirror, you can use whatever you want. You can shake in a little pigment thing and just use it straight out of the bottle, but for sanitation purposes, I always like to shake mine out. I'm just kind of filling up my brush with a little bit of here. You can just see the kind of just barely sprinkled in there. And as similarly as I did before, just start at the corner and work it straight up into that arch. Something that I love about our pigments is that they don't fall out all over the place like every other pigment I've ever used. And again, you're just working up at an angle, up to that arch. And really combing it through nicely. And I just kind of fill in the top. This is an area where you can play a little bit with the shape of your brow. So don't feel like just because you've always done your brow, and again on the end, we're really just going to flick that out with the very tip of our brush. That gives it a very nice taper, natural taper that the brow has. And there you have it. Our last step is we're going to brush, comb that product through all the way out. And there you have a little bit more of a sculpted looking brow. Now you can play with your eyebrow shape. You can add a little bit more of a point in the center. You can do it more rounded like this one. Feel free to play. Try to, different looks for different eye looks. The more obviously that you lift up on top, the more open that you're creating the eye space. I mean, you can even add kind of like these little, I kind of call them little points. Not like Ronald McDonald points, but just little points. And you just do that by lifting your brush up, creating a point, and then back down, up and down. And there you can get a little bit of a lift point. Some people like a little point to their brow. So that is my eyebrow shaping tutorial. If you have any questions whatsoever, go ahead and post them in the comments here. You can also ask about them in the group where I post this. And happy playing. Be sure, the best way to conquer things like these is just to dive in and just play a little bit, but those are my basics, and thanks for stopping by.